Hey everyone, I'm Devin, your friendly neighborhood board gamer, and this is Devin Talks Tabletop, the YouTube channel where the games are made up, what I say doesn't matter. And if it's not clear from the set that I'm in, from the entire system of all the cameras that are on, from a lapel mic that I definitely don't know how to use, I am tragically out of depth right now. I am in the Ivy studio, which is fabulous. It's absolutely fabulous. Set design and everything. It's gorgeous, and the equipment is unrivaled in terms of things I have experienced so far. I'm doing a little bit of first impressions on Fractured Sky. I have had the opportunity to play this 4 different times now, I believe, and I've had a lot of fun with it, and I wanted to share my thoughts so that you could be informed as to whether it's something for you. I think that Ivy Studios has got probably one of the few studios with a recognizable DNA or blueprint to their games. Every time I see them, they are a certain style and level of production. They have absolutely fabulous visual or graphic design, and I think that comes from their kind of artistic background, from their animation studio work. Everything is sumptuous in terms of the looks, the feel, and they are really kind of committed to having everything be the highest quality that they can offer while still being, a attainable product for the biggest portion of people that they can. This is Fractured Sky, their newest one. They started off with Moonrakers, then they launched Veiled Fate, then Mythic Mischief, then Moonrakers came back for the Titans campaign, which was incredibly successful, and now we're looking at Fractured Sky, and let's give a little bit of a look as to what this game is. As you can see, this is in media res. This is where the game has been shown for some B-roll and a little bit of a changed state based off of where the board was at the end of one of our playthroughs. So, caveat for everybody. This was Zach's seat, and this is definitely not representative of his score. It's not at all how well he fared. So do not think for an instant that Zach accomplished this and smashed us, okay? That's more cumulative points than the rest of us have on the board, and that is not okay. That's not where things are at. That's not how it ended, okay? Go watch it. Go watch the video. This is a lie. However, if we're looking at the board, this is a game with several different mechanics that are going on. You have hidden placement where your airships, there's going to be a deluxe and a standard version of the game, or a retail version of the game. In this deluxe version, you have airships that magnetically hold and conceal whatever the point value is. So underneath, there's a 0 here, but until it's revealed, you don't know. This could be anywhere between a 0 and a 9, just not a 1 or a 10. If it's a 1 or a 10, it's going to be revealed with a white outline on the edges there. So that is the only amount of partial information that is shared at the beginning or throughout the gameplay each round prior to the resolution of objective scoring. Is that if it's a white ring, you know that is a player's. It has to be either their 1 or their 10. Outside of that, there's quite a bit going on. You have markets that you can place and fortresses that you can place. These are the buildings in the game. This type of building allows wherever it is connected to accumulate resources, no matter where you scored, whether you scored the Starfall, which are the objective pieces and the points to win the game, whether you scored fully all of the resources, or whether you scored only a partial amount of the resources depending on where you landed and how many people you were competing with. Markets increase what you gain. Fortresses increase the strength of your airships. So this 0 that is relatively useless right now would not be boosted by any of this. However, if there was another ship that was here, this 10, which is base 10, would actually be an 11 with the inclusion of that fortress. So you have things that augment what you are trying to aim for in terms of the total ship strength, which is typically 1 ship of yours per region. Sometimes if it's necessary, you can spend the additional resource or strength value to double up ships in an area. And then also at the end of the day, you just got to go after that Starfall. That's the objective of this, is you can have as many resources as you want from markets, from the ships that you win in other regions. But if you're not gaining this Starfall, you're not gonna win. and you need to accumulate that. There are several ways to get Starfall in the game, and I'm going to talk to you about it. There is a 5-round process in Fractured Sky. Player order will shift depending on when people phase out of each round. Ivy Studios has done some very clever and interesting mechanics that surround player turn order and anything revolving around when you decide to pass or end your turn. In Veiled Fate, they had the process of hard passing, get you the first player token, which can be quite valuable. And then in Moonrakers, I'm going to just pretend I said something smart that coincided with where I was going with that, and then pretend that Mythic Mischief I said something smart. Like that, in my head, that was 100% a complete parallel through all 4 games, and then I realized halfway through that that was faulty logic. So ignore me. Ignore me. I don't even know where to look when I'm being stupid, and that's just how it goes. Going on to how you get Starfall. So as you can see, this board over here, this represents your per round objectives, which are on the top, and then the bottom row are the hidden objectives, where each of those are going to have Starfall each round. So those blue-backed cards, all of those were available to give a hidden Starfall in the 5th and final round. At the top, those kind of like rusty orange-backed cards, of which 4 of the 5 are revealed right now, those are only offering Starfall bonuses in the round that they are. So round 1 gets 1, round 2 gets 1. So it is cumulative growth of hidden Starfall on the bottom, and then it is round per round basis Starfall objectives up top. And the ones up top are based off of the game state, the conditions that are met on the board, and then the bottom ones are associated with regions. So as you can see to the left side of that, you've got Creepy Cove, which is the public objective. There is always going to be a public objective, which is why this Starfall is right here on Creepy Cove. But Creepy Cove could have a second hidden objective among those 5, or it could be any of the other sections in those 5. All are hosting more hidden Starfall. The only way that you can have 2 Starfall in one location is where the public objective meets one of those private objectives, because that deck are single instances of the 10 regions on the board. Other than that, though, there could be 4 or 5 other regions that have objectives, and it's a matter of figuring out where they're at. And if you can see all the cubes up there, those represent the players who have expended resources to peek or scout out those cards and determine where hidden Starfall was going to be landing. And then the cubes that are at the top are people who at any course of the game, whether the current round or in previous rounds, scouted out certain round-based objectives in order to plan ahead or to find additional resources outside of the hidden Starfall down below. So you can look ahead, you can plan on a round-by-round basis, or you can expend as many resources as you have at your disposal in order to peek at the hidden Starfall, which might give you and maybe nobody else information that you want to act upon. And that's kind of the puzzle that you're having to untangle. Is you've got a public Starfall, you've got a round-based objective, you've got hidden Starfall that start in the first round with 1 and progress steadily, 2 more hidden Starfall in the second round, 3 in the third, 4 in the fourth, and a final 5 Starfall that are hidden in the 5th round, which along with the public objective means that you are actually going after 7 potential Starfall against 3 in the beginning round. And that's a really fun cumulative rise. It kind of builds towards 2 end game rounds of really a lot of climactic pushing back and forth, and can actually give a big surge to certain players if they're able to handle and appropriately delegate where their resources go. I really, really like Fractured Sky. One thing that I think Ivy Studios does really well is create gaming experiences where there is a core model that you're following in the gameplay. There is a streamlined experience on the table in front of you. And then after that, the special sauce that you're bringing is the people that you play with. Moonrakers, it's social negotiation. You're trying to make certain, as long as possible, that people value you and what you can bring and what you can offer on a particular contract. That's nice. In Veiled Fate, you're continually trying to be the politic, and you are trying to make people uncertain as to the machinations that you're wielding around the table and your intent and the actual demigod that you are favoring and trying to boost towards victory. So again, deception, guile, conversation around the table, all of that is the interplay of the people. And then in Mythic Mischief, it's a little bit less of that table talk, but it is so much more trying to undo the puzzle of the person in front of you, especially in that kind of, I think, sweet spot of two players. It's a duel, and a duel is always trying to like unseat the comfort of the person across the table from you to where you can best them, and getting under their skin is a good way to do that. I mean, you obviously don't want to like ruin the experience of the players at the table with you, but it is a little bit of that like social tension and conflict that you are doing in a friendly sparring session while you're trying to beat them. And isn't that the point of the game, is to beat people if it's a competitive game? I would say so. So in Fractured Sky, you have this bidding system, this kind of area control in these territories. You have some resource management with the markets that are there, and you have the fortresses, and it's this push and pull between deciding what buildings you need, what regions you want to go for, how much resources to allocate towards objectives, and how much resources to allocate towards buildings. Even these little skiffs, these additional ships can go in and they can buttress the numbers that you're pushing forth into one region. So there are a lot of different options at your disposal. And I really enjoy it. I like games where you're playing against the minds of the people at the table with you, and I think that paired with what IV is able to bring in terms of a beautiful, excessively rich experience on the table, it is nice. It's really, really comforting. It's a very fun game. I'm excited to see where this world could go. They have a very unique world thematically. You've got these floating islands that are held up or part of this kind of like cosmic octopus, this weird, tentacled entity. And you've got all of these shards of star that have like crashed into the land, and that's the starfall, and that is the resource that you are hunting for, that is prized and is what is going to determine the victor at the end of the day. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy it, and I like excuses to sit down with people and to engage in kind of a verbal combat, in a battle of the wits, and in a deduction model in which you are trying to determine, is this their 1? Is this their 10? If I get it correctly, maybe I could win multiple starfall and really like take the lead. Or if I get it wrong, maybe I'm going to hinge my entire strategy upon a false assumption, and then I'm just going to have to wallow in self-pity when everything comes undone and I don't get the points that I wanted. So I really like the kind of knife's edge that you're walking on as you play a game like this, and you can either keep your balance and absolutely, hold yourself steady until you get to victory, or you can fall off the precipice and you lose, and you just have to accept that, and so you're not going to win every game. And I think that is a fun experience. So this is Fractured Sky. This is the newest title from IV Studio, and I've had a blast with it. I want to play more. I want to see more. And I really hope that this gets kind of some love and support behind it, because I'm interested to see where it goes next. Whether that's the solo implementation that I believe has some really heavy hitter designers behind it, or anything else that could be expanded upon to see where the next steps are for Fractured Sky. I think that IV Studios has proved with Moonrakers that they're able to take an existing design and kick it up a notch and send it in several different directions that could satisfy a wider audience and people who may have had complaints or instincts against aspects of the core experience. And then they know that you can really craft it and make it your own. I think that Fractured Sky has that same potential, and just as with Moonrakers, I'm really happy with what's already here. I think that they've got a smart design, I think that it's a beautiful look, and they're always pushing the boundaries on component design, these little magnetic, and this is just the prototype. I mean, to give that qualification late, this is just the prototype for the game. it's not the final production model. There is a lot that they're still tweaking and working on, and I can't wait to see what the final rendition of this is, because it's already gorgeous, and I know that that will only scale upward as things come to a completion point. If you guys have any questions about the game, I've played enough to where I feel like I can talk about it substantively. So send some comments, send some questions, whatever you've got. And I will do my best. I admit it's not always the best enough for people, but it's the best enough for me. And on that eloquent note, I bid you adieu. Thanks for hanging out with me. I'll see you guys next time.